Welcome back to the studio. I'm so happy that you're here. Today I am, again, working on these. I'm looking over here because I did a thing that has been in my head all week. I felt like I needed to see the color blues that I had. For those that don't know, I am on a deadline to paint a painting that is in the style or in the theme or in the idea of Picasso's blue period. So I have to create a painting that is blue, hence all the blue. And I have blue paint, and so I was really worried about, am I using the right blues? Do I even know what my blues are? And so I did this little color swatching. Ooh, of all the blues that I have, and I'll show you closer too. But this, and then I mix them with white, and then I mix them with Payne's gray to see like sort of the variations. Now, of course, I could make that white whiter, and I could make that the darks darker, but this gave me kind of an idea of what I had, which I thought would help. I did not get a chance to paint all week because, you know, life. And so here I am, and this painting has to be done and framed by the 21st. And next week I am going out of town, and so there will be some painting maybe at the beginning of the week and then next Sunday in the studio with you. And then I have one more week to finalize one of these, and hopefully it'll be good enough to go in the show. So here we are today. Let's see what we can do with these blues that I've created. What I want to do today, what's been in my mind, is to simplify these backgrounds. Not worry so much about the fruit and the bowls, but just really simplify the backgrounds. I can always make them busier if I want to and more detailed, but they have been driving me nuts in my head. I work in here, so in the studio, I do my day job. And I work in here, so I'm in here all the time, but I'm not always painting, but the paintings are always here, so I'm always sort of thinking about them, which is good, that's helpful, but I don't actually have the brush out or the paint out, so they're just in my mind. And I don't know if you're anything like me, I think a lot sometimes, and so like I wake up thinking about them, I go to sleep thinking about them, and I haven't done anything on them. It's a little frustrating, but enough of that. Let's just try to get some simplified thing. Oh, I think another thing that I don't like. So I had tried this system where you like have a piece of parchment and then you have like a wet paper towel under it or cloth, but I don't like working on the parchment. I think it's horrible. It feels horrible. It might just be also that my pan is very small, but I don't like it. I prefer to work directly on the enamel pan. I like the way that feels better. So all these things, it's so funny as an artist, you're like, I don't know, like figuring out how you want to do it is just as much a part of it as the doing of it, right? So it's all just information. I'm just learning, like, okay, yeah, I tried that thing that someone recommended, but then, oh, I don't like that. I don't like doing that. So it's good for my mind. So back to this. Let's simplify these backgrounds. I think to do it, I actually have to flip them this way. See if I can flip them this way so that they are, I'm not focused on the fruit, and then I'm just focused on the background. We'll see if that works. Let's just paint, right? Isn't that what you're here for? You just want to watch me paint. You just want to watch me paint. I know some of you are like, oh my God, are you ever going to finish these paintings? When are you going to move on? There's a deadline, so I will definitely be moving on, just not quite yet. So what I'm doing right now is I really liked that blue green with the white in it, so I'm mixing up a bunch more of it. And I have a big flat brush. Let's see. This is a Royal Langnickel flat number 9. So unusual for me because it doesn't leave any nice, raw, good edges. But it does take a lot of paint. So sometimes if I want just lots of good coverage, I'm looking for that. So my thought here was that I would just try to create these stripes, which we shall see. And how far down do I want those stripes? It's a tricky part, isn't it? There's a lot of ways I could do this. I could just paint the whole thing that and then just make the stripes, but I don't think I want to do that. I think I actually want to make it harder on myself. I think I want to paint one stripe. I want to paint them separate, I think. I want to paint them separate. And I don't think I want to go all the way down. I think down here will be more of a solid color. So I just want to get these initial stripes in. And I also think I want them of varying sizes. I don't think I'm interested in like perfect, you know. Well, I'm never interested in perfect, actually. One of the nice things about working upside down, this clip, is that I no longer really pay attention to the still life portion. I'm only focused on what I'm doing. You know, my mind can't get bogged down in the grapes or the oranges or, you know, whatever it is that I've created. And that's helpful. That's really helpful because I can just focus on this. You may be thinking, oh my gosh, you just painted over all of that texture. Well, it's all still there. It's all still there. It's just in the unders, right? It's just in the underpainting. And you can see some of it pop through. I'm already seeing some of it pop through. That's kind of fun. Yeah, that just, my mind likes that better already. And it's upside down, and I like it better. So let's try, what I thought I would do is take that same blue-green, it's Nova blue-green. It's an opaque, yeah, it's an opaque, so it's not very translucent. Has some translucency, all paint does, honestly. And then some Payne's Gray and make a darker stripe, right? So using the same color, just really making the shades, so making the tint and then making the shade. And oh yeah, it's much thinner. Could just be me and the amount of paint I have too, but you'll be able to see a little bit more of that. Oh yeah, they won't be straight. I'm not using a straight line. Like, I'm not interested in, like, I could get a ruler out or I could tape it off, right? There's like things I could do, and I know that, but I'm not interested in doing that. Okay, so I have another flat brush that I'm just going to try to use to get into some of these tighter spots. What was bothering me about these paintings as I stared at them all week and couldn't work on them, which is a practice all unto its own, actually, what I thought about was that they were too busy and they were too much. And for a person who likes to actually do busy, that's saying a lot. Like, if it was too much for me, it was too much. And it was taking away from sort of the simplicity of the theme, of that blue theme. And I wanted to go back to that. I wanted to like experience that a little bit more. So hence this simplifying, 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 simplifying. Yeah, I kind of like that. I need a little bit more of that paint. So when I'm mixing paint, I'll never get the exact right. It won't be perfect. Like, I'm not looking for perfect because I just want to get at it. I've been waiting for days just to get at this. So maybe that's part of my practice, now that I think about it, is that I get to look at my paintings for a period of time, but I can't actually paint on them because I'm too, my life is full in other ways. And so I just have to be with them, but not working on them. And then they're in my mind. I'm thinking about them. I'm thinking about them. Yeah, that might be part of it for me. So there's other ways you can do stripes, in case anybody ever wondered. You could have painted that all one color and then painted the stripes. You could have taped it off. There's lots of ways to get a stripe. But like I said, I am not interested in like a perfect stripe. I'm kind of interested in the wonkiness of it. Not too wonky. You can see I'm cleaning up some of it. Oh yeah. Okay, so just even that right there makes me so much happier. It's just simple. It's been simplified so much that just makes me happier. We're gonna let that dry just a little bit because I want to go in and work on that bottom, but I need to be able to clip it. So we'll go ahead and do the same-ish kind of thing, but maybe we'll pull in different colors because we don't want them to be the same. We're not looking for like samey paintings. What else did I like on this blue? Oh, yeah, I kind of like this very different sort of like this turquoise. I do like that, which is similar but a little bit different. And I like this ultramarine. I wonder, that might be a lot. That might be a lot. Maybe that phthalo blue and ultramarine. The phthalo blue green shade. I'm telling you, those are two that I find like they're not that different. I think for a class I took once, I needed one, and then for another class I needed another one, and so I ended up with both of them. And I don't know if you I wouldn't, I mean, some people like to have a lot of paint and so they just buy all the colors, and I don't actually. And I feel it's a little frustrating to me to feel like I have all these colors, because like I had to make that chart, in order for me to understand what I even had. Yeah, I don't know if I like that color. Well, let's do it. Let's just do it. We can always paint over it. It's very translucent. I find that interesting. And we'll take this to about here. And again, the bottom will be a flatter color. So let's add some white to the ultramarine. I do like that color, so let's add some white to that. That might help. We'll make this stripe thicker. That's another thing. I think I want a thicker stripe. Oh, it's all too wet, so it's just blending. So we'll hold off on that side. It's part of it. It's all, dealing with paint. Like I said before, I think in another video, I don't employ here we go. Okay. I do like that color better. I don't employ a hair dryer, and so I have to actually let paint dry, but it's good for me because then I have to think about it. Okay, so this is ultramarine and white. Do I like that? Oh, it feels like too purple on that end. That's what it's like. let's try, that's too purple. That feels too purple. I do like the green, so maybe they do have to be similar, and maybe I just need to mix some Payne's Gray in there. Let's try that. Let's try that mix. The ultramarine, white, and then some Payne's Gray. See what that looks like. When in doubt, Payne's Gray, which I love as a color and just as a, I don't know, it feels calming. It might be too gray though. It's also too wet. So this is part of the problem. Yeah, it's too wet. It's also too gray, I think. I can already tell. Like, that feels too gray to me. The purple might have worked with the... Now I've made such a mess. That's okay. That's what it is. That's what happens. Okay. Let's regroup for a minute. I went and washed my brushes. I used this pickle jar I have for years, and it doesn't hold very much water, but the reason for that is because I have to clean it frequently, which is good for me. It lets me, again, step away a bit. I wiped off some of that paint, so I think that's dry, and I think what I'm gonna, oh, it's dry-ish. It's dry-ish. I think I'm gonna do a solid color on the back, and then if I want stripes, I will make the stripes. I also see from moving this that I need like a little bit of paint here. I move them up a little bit so I could get a better idea. So I'm gonna paint the background a solid color, blue, obviously, and I think I'm actually gonna use like really lightish, the light teal, but even lighter. And I hopefully that will at least be something. At this point, at least be something. I will say that it isn't that I haven't enjoyed the process of having like a creative direction. It's stressful. I actually find this stressful, and I'm not sure if I think it's fun. So that it's good, like, to know. The reason I don't do commissions is because I don't think that's fun. I'm actually gonna change brushes. I like this brush, but I think I do want more texture. So I'm gonna try to get some of that paint off of there, and I'm gonna switch to one of my terrible brushes so that, yeah, I feel more comfortable with these brushes. So I'm just gonna switch to it even here. Yeah, I like to draw a little bit with the paintbrush and move the paint around and be a little hard and scratchy on it. So I need a worse paintbrush. Anyway, the theme, you know, working towards a theme is, you know, it's good practice. This is a good practice for me, but it's also, it's interesting that I mean, I've stayed up at night thinking about it, like, or woke up in the middle of the night sort of stressed about it. And that doesn't feel like a good feeling. I mean, I will say that, like, I'm not enjoying that part of it. Like, I find it to be, that takes the fun out of painting for me. So it's good to know yourself, which is all painting is about anyway for me, is like another way to like know myself. So it's good to know myself, but oh, wow, okay. You know, I'm used to just painting and going on a tangent of painting whatever I want to paint, not what someone has asked of me. And so, yeah, I don't know how much I like that, actually. That's just good information for me to have. Again, I'm, you know, very honored to be part of the show that's coming up and to be asked. And so don't get me wrong. you know, I'm not ungrateful. I just realize like I put a lot of pressure on myself, and so for me, I feel like a deadline like this or a confinement of an idea puts even more pressure. And I'm not sure in my painting life that's what I want. So I come from a commercial art background. For those that don't know, I did package design and I did branding, and for big companies and products and all kinds of stuff, big names. And so I'm used to working on a brief. Like that's part of, like, I get it. Like I know how to do it, and I'm used to working on a deadline, and I'm used to getting things done in that way. So it's not like that's new to me at all. It's just in my work life, I don't do that work so much anymore, a little bit, but it's not the main part of my work. So, I sort of left the commercial art world. And so I just, wonder like, oh, this might be a reaction to that too. Like my resistance is like, oh, right, I left this world for a reason, because the confining nature of working on a client's brief, is it by its definition is confining. You are doing what somebody else wants. And that was all right for a while. But I tired of it, as any creative does. I think eventually you're like, ugh, I just want to do my own stuff. So hence the painting has all, selfishly been about what I wanted. And so that's, I think, part of my resistance to this project. Also, my life is full and good, and that's great. But it also doesn't have a lot of time. I don't have as much time in the studio as I would like to have. Should we turn them over and see what they look like? I think we should. Oh, they might just flop down. There we go. Piece of tape. I definitely like the stripe better. I definitely like the stripe. I don't like this. So what that information means is I'm going to need to put a stripe in here. This is wet, so I won't do that now. Let's clean up the bottom of this one. I think that will be the next thing for this painting. The way they're clipped makes it kind of hard. Try to put this down here. Maybe just, yeah, slip it in there. Have to move that tape when I get to that spot. But let's do a Payne's gray on the bottom. Let's see what that looks like. That's kind of fun. I don't know what it'll look like. Oh yeah, I do so much like mushing the paint in this tray, not on the parchment paper. Ugh, parchment paper is terrible. This brush is too big, so I have to like just use it in these really big places. So I'm always just using the back. You could use other tools to do scraping like that. I'm just using the back of the paintbrush. hate that. You're like, I can't see it, it's upside down. I don't hate where that's going. So step in the right direction. You can see through, it's kind of translucent. You can see some of that, what's underneath it. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. So on this one, that's still too wet, but you know, those grapes, while we're here, we could like add a little bit to the grapes. And that is just, I was adding quinacridone magenta to any of these blues really. And then I was gonna lighten it up a little bit. Quinacridone magenta and blue make a gorgeous violet. So I just want to do shades of that violet in order to, yeah. This will be one layer, so you have one layer already. And then I will do another layer over this. But that, they're starting to get there. So because there's this purple in here, I maybe will do that purple stripe that we had that I wasn't sure I liked. I don't know. Maybe let's put some of that. Since we have the underneath to do. Let's try the purplish color under there. We'll make it a little bit more blue because it is supposed to be shades of blue, not purple, but let's see what that looks like. A little bit more of that quinacridone. Quinacridone magenta is strong, so using it in, like you have to, it gets purple very quickly, so you have to, you know, think about that. Oh, look at that dark. That might make the table too hard to see, but we'll see. So I don't really measure, I just kind of eye things. I don't mind things to be a little wonky, and so I'm just, you know, eyeing it. So I don't hate the bottom, but the top needs that stripe. So let's do that. Let's do that stripe. I feel better about it if I do it. put a little bit more of the purpley color. Let me mix up a little bit more of that purpley color, but lighter for the grapes. Continue to put like little layers on those grapes. And I've switched to this really rough brush just to get that look that I'm going for. Let's start to get some depth on them. I think they're fun. I do think that the grapes are super fun. I think they add, so that's good. I'm really called to maybe put some purple in this down here or something, but I think I need to let that go for right now. Yeah, so you're probably wondering, where's this painting? This painting is still here. I've done nothing. I just thought for this session we'd sort of focus on these, try to get them closer, and so I'm going to leave you here. I think this is long already. I'll leave you here, and I have what? I have a couple weeks to get this done. I can do it. So tell me, what would you do? Like, so here's some problem areas, and I get your feedback. Tell me what you think. So I think this bottom is too dark now. So there's two choices. Either the table has to lighten up, which we could do, or this back part needs to change. The value is not right. So change this to something else. That's decision one that needs to be made. On this, it's sort of the same thing. I like the table, the back, this doesn't quite sit right, but maybe we wait to do something there till I finish this out more, right? But what would you do? Like, what are your thoughts here? So we have this background. I'm really happy I made the backgrounds so that like it gets me further into thinking where we're going, right? Yeah, tell me what you think there, and tell me what else you might do. Like, I don't know. Paintings have stages. There's always a messy middle. This has been in a messy middle for some time, but I feel like they're getting a little bit closer. I'm really glad I did the swatches. It gives me a better eye of what I have and what I'm working with. Yeah, and thanks for coming. This just helps me like feel motivated to do this and keep going. Like I said, this is a challenge for me to try to do somebody else's idea or creative idea. And so I'm struggling a little bit, but I'm really happy to have you be part of that and help me, push forward. So whatever you're getting up to this week, I hope that you get into your studio and that you paint and or whatever it is that you do. And if you're not a painter and you just enjoy other people painting, thanks for being here. I appreciate you too. And we'll be back next Sunday. And then we'll really be on deadline, won't we? Because I should finish them by... I have to at least know the size because I have to buy a frame because they have to be framed for the show that's coming up. So I either have to know that I'm doing one of these 11 by 15s or I'm doing the 18 by 22. I think that's what that is. Whatever it is. I just have to know. I could buy both frames. Maybe I will just buy frames in both sizes because I don't know yet. But they have to be framed and ready to go to the show. And then, of course, I will take you along on that. Too. And so thank you for being here. And just keep enjoying art in any way, whatever that means to you. And even if it means just getting it on your arms. See you later. See you next Sunday.